What up, guys? Here we go. As a reminder, as I've been saying for several episodes, for every dunk that's made in this NBA Finals, I am donating $1 to dunkoncancer.org. If you have any money at all, even if it's just a buck, just $1, go ahead. It's going to a great cause, cancer research. And I feel like since everyone, they hate us because they ain't us, we are definitely in that New England Patriots territory of hatred for the Warriors. This is just a great way to show everyone how generous we can be. You know what? You can't get that mad at us because we're donating money to cancer for every dunk that's happening, or just for any dunk. I'll donate, you could donate $1 for the next dunk that happens in the next game. Literally anything you have is greatly appreciated. Go to dunkoncancer.org for more information. If this is your first time listening to the GoldCast, you should like and subscribe. Give us 5 stars. Give us 10 stars. Even if they don't allow 10 stars, write in. I'm giving this show 10 stars. Helps with the algorithm. Keeps us up at the top. You can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever great podcasts are sold for free. We are there. Like, subscribe. You can talk to us on iTunes. You could talk to us on Twitter @_GoldCast. You could also talk to us on my personal pages @Rudy Solis 3 on Instagram, @Rudy Solis 3RD on Twitter. Follow me, I'll follow you back. Join the conversation. Most people tend to talk to me online. That's where all of my mailbags come from. Just literally everyone sending me messages, giving me comments saying, hey, I think this, I think that. And as I mentioned before in previous episodes, we get information from all over the place. All right, here we go. Let's get started. Finally, I'm back. I'm going to talk about what the hell took this podcast a day and a half. Why is it a day and a half late? I will explain after the intro. But hey, man, your professor of fanalism is here. Class is in session. Let's go.
San Francisco, are you ready? This is the GoldCast.
Boom. Welcome to another edition of the GoldCast. We are the voice of the Bay. I'm your host, Rudy Solis III. And with me is you, and here we go. Game 2 is in the books. You know what? Actually, let's not start there. I want to start with the 49ers. It's the first episode of the week. We've been doing a lot of Warriors stuff. It's been great. It's been amazing. We'll finish the episode on the Warriors. I'm taking a swerve right here on the GoldCast. We're going to start with the 49ers. But I already broke my promise. I forgot to tell you guys why I was a day and a half late. So there's this little city. Perhaps you've heard of it. It's called the city of Las Vegas. And a buddy of mine's getting married, and he decided to have his little bachelor party in Las Vegas. And I think that's all you need to know. That's why I was late. I came back on Sunday, saw game 3, slept for 12 hours, went to work on Monday. That is my life. I don't get paid to podcast. Not yet. Maybe I will be soon. Hint, spoiler. We'll see. But I was out. So today, finally, I was able to sit down and get this sucker going. But let's start with a man who's at practice today. That would be one Navorro Bowman. Oh, man, Navorro Bowman. As you all remember, this guy spent 8 years. I believe it was 8 years. We don't always fact check on this, on the GoldCast. 8 years with the 49ers in his career total. So Navorro Bowman, one of the baddest mother effers in the world. He was the, basically he was the companion to Patrick Willis in terms of, who he was on the field. He was so good. Him and Willis were easily two of the best linebackers ever, or at least in recent history, easily. He was with the team for 8 years. He had, he racked up, I'm looking at his stats right now, racked up 877 total tackles, 16.5 sacks, 5 interceptions, 9 forced fumbles, 6 fumble recoveries, 1 touchdown. We all know the touchdown. The touchdown, this is what's amazing. What started the 49er dynasty, 1981, NFC Championship, 49ers versus Cowboys, was the catch. Joe Montana, Dwight Clark. The final game at Candlestick, you guys remember, it gives me chills just to talk about this. The final game at Candlestick when Matt Ryan is taking the Atlanta Falcons down. They have an opportunity to steal this game from us. Already, Bowman, he'd already messed up earlier in the game. Y'all remember. And then he comes back and he steals. The ball gets batted. I don't remember who bats the ball. But Bowman grabs it for the interception. 89-yard touchdown return. He jumps, does the flip into the end zone for what ended as basically the final play of the game, final play of Candlestick Park's career, the pick at the stick. If the dynasty was started with the catch, then that era of the 49ers history closes with an interception. So good. That is, oh my God. I've heard so many different people say, including players, it was the loudest they ever heard Candlestick Park. I've seen clips from people's phones of them showing it from the crowd. I mean, it reverberates like no tomorrow. That is one of my all-time favorite plays, one of the greatest plays in 49er history. Navorro Bowman, pick at the stick. He's retiring, and he's retiring as a 49er. So even though this podcast is coming out about a day and a half late, I apologize. Still, we get to talk about this news, and this couldn't be more perfect than to open it up. Navorro Bowman was at practice today. He's in the huddle with the teams, and that's just amazing. I'm so glad he's retiring as a 49er. He should. It broke my heart. If you remember, he went out like a champ. So really when his career started to go down was during the NFC Championship, the 2013 one, where he, again, I believe, did he recover the fumble? He recovered the fumble. Seattle fumbles the ball. They're in the red zone. He recovers it, and they tear his ACL, and the video is horrific. Don't go look at it because you see the leg bend in a way you don't want it to bend. But you know what? Navorro Bowman didn't let go of that ball. Even when they tore his freaking leg off, he didn't let go of that ball. That guy was a champ. He had so much heart. He was such a beast. And it sucked when we let him go. It was understandable, but it still hurt. Brand new regime. It was, the breakup wasn't as nasty as it could have been. It wasn't as nasty as it could have been, but it still was rough. But either way, Bowman is back, and he will retire as a 49er. Thank you, Navorro Bowman, for everything you've done. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for all of the quarterbacks whose hearts you ripped out of, especially during that Harbaugh era. That defense was the best. Man, Patrick Willis, Navorro Bowman, Aldon Smith, Justin Smith, even Dante Whitner. He had that one hot year. Man, that defense was just so amazing. I feel like the defense, definitely that team was a defensive-led team. Alex Smith did great. Terrell Davis had some moments. Frank Gore, what can you say? You can't say anything bad about Frank Gore. But that defense really defined the Harbaugh era. They were just incredible to watch. Let's hope that Lynch and Shanahan can repeat that going forward into this next era of 49er history. Let's hope that. Let's get a W, baby. Let's get some W's, and let's start putting fear in quarterbacks' hearts. Let's do it for Navorro Bowman. Come on, let's go. Let's go. All right, moving on. Game 2. I'm not going to say what's already been said because everyone's already said it. Lots of pundits, so there's no point in going over it. But I am going to explain one thing that I know. Here's why I don't coach professional basketball. Because on the last episode, I said we're probably not going to see Boogie again for the rest of the series. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't play again. He looked slow, looked out of shape. Looked like the game was moving too fast for him. Fast forward to game 2 on Sunday, and they start him, and I'm sitting there going, "Why are they starting Boogie? What? What is going on?" And then I get a phone call from my dad, Rudy Solis Jr., the unofficial, one of the unofficial members of the GoldCast. He calls me and he goes, I said, "This was tough." After the first half, I was like, "This was tough. Oh my goodness." They just look rough. They look overwhelmed. The Raptors look like they have them at every corner. They I feel like this team just doesn't. They look out of sorts, man. They look overwhelmed. The defense of the Raptors is playing strong, and this game feels like it's slowly slipping away from us. He goes, yeah, and I said, and what was up with Boogie starting? He goes, actually, I thought Boogie played pretty decent. I thought he played much better this game. I said, really? Well, I thought he was all right. Then we get into that second half, and Boogie becomes the MVP of that game. What he was doing out there, the whole Warriors rally again. And I've been talking about this a lot this year. I have to give a shout out to so many GoldCast listeners. This has probably been one of the coolest things that has happened. This has always been a 49er-centric podcast. This was originally called, for those of you who've been with us, my boy Dax, who was on the show last week. For those of you that know, this show was originally called the 49ers GoldCast, and we only did the Niners seasons, and we wouldn't do anything else. And then a couple years back, I can't remember. It's been so long. I can't remember when we made the switch over, but we made the switch over, and we started doing all the teams. We did Warriors and Giants. We started doing that all year round, and we started just going all year round, and it was a bit of a transition, but most people still associate us with the 49ers. 49ers is what we get the most hits on. 49er-centric episodes what gains the most interest. Obviously, we're in the Bay. We're San Francisco focused, San Francisco native, born and raised, 23rd mission. Let's go. St. Luke's, boom, in the house, in the building. But we are still primarily a 49er-centric podcast. That is where people's focus likes to be. Having said that, I've had a lot of GoldCast people reach out to me on Twitter and on Instagram and say, hey, I've been watching the Warriors because of everything you've been saying. And, man, it's pretty awesome to watch, because still there's still that stigma. They're in Oakland, not in San Francisco. There's a little bit of that going on. But I've had a lot of GoldCast Nation reach out to me, 49er faithful, saying, they've been rolling with Dub Nation and watching the Warriors. So I think that's super dope. Thank you very much. I'm glad that we could contribute and help on that end and just bring a little bit more sports to your life, a little more San Francisco Bay Area sports. They're in San Francisco next year. I mean, officially next year, they are the 49ers. Not the 49ers. They'll be San Francisco's. They will always be a Bay Area team, but they're back in the city. Come on, SF. Come on. We have to at that point. Once they're in San Francisco, you don't have a choice anymore. They're here. So Boogie comes out, the defense comes out to play, and everyone's been saying this, and this series has truly been strength in numbers. The hashtag, the slogan, this is the classic slogan from this decade, strength in numbers. And I will say, on the flip side, we've been talking so much about how great this is. I'm also very nervous. KD is still out for Game 3. That was officially announced today. Sometimes I'm psychic, and sometimes I have to hold this podcast back because my psychic brain tells me that I must wait for 2 days so we can get more news to you. KD's out. Clay is questionable, although I'm pretty sure Clay's going to play, but the question is, what kind of version of Clay are we going to get? What kind of version of this team are we going to get in general? Let's talk a stat. This stat was on ESPN all day yesterday, and I took a photo of it so I could tell you guys. So the Warriors, by availability of the Big Four, since 2016-17, since we added Durant, okay, the Big Four is Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. When all four are in, their win-loss record is 151 wins to 40 losses, a winning percentage of .791. That's pretty good. When it's three of the four, they have 60 wins, 22 losses, winning percentage of .732. Not a huge drop, just a little drop. When it's two of the four, their win-loss record is 13 of 8, and it's .619. Obviously, it's rare they've had two of the four. When it's one or fewer, they're 3 of 5, and their win percentage drops under 500, .375. Now, here's the thing. We don't have a lot. we're comparing 3 games, 3 wins versus 151. So rarely, it's 8 games total they've played with 1 or fewer. It's very rare that they play with 1 or fewer. But I do have to admit, man, it is a little nerve-wracking. I mean, how many more? So Looney's out. Kevon Looney is out. You guys know that, right? Looney's out. Kevin Durant's not coming back. Clay is questionable. The nervous thing about this is how many guys have to drop before this breaks the camel's back. I'm not sure. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen in Game 3. I honestly don't know. Going back to this Game 2, as I mentioned before, I'm the idiot that tells you on the GoldCast, well, probably not going to see Boogie again. And then Boogie is the MVP of the game. The whole team rallies. Cook was like 3 for 3 from behind the arc. That was impressive. It was truly a team victory. The second half, they rally. They go 18-0 in that third quarter. I know you guys have heard it, but don't act like you don't want to hear it again. I love to hear. I read this stuff and watch this stuff for like 3 days straight after we win. I don't care. Neither do you. And if you do, now you don't. 18-0. The Raptors don't score for like the first 5 minutes. It was destruction. That third quarter rally came, and finally the Warriors look like themselves. But geez, man, they're just dropping like flies this year. Like flies. We basically got Steph Curry, Iguodala, Draymond, and just the rest of the team. The only guy that didn't look that hot was Jerebko. Do you guys agree with that? I didn't think Jerebko I didn't think he played that strong. But in general, we are down all the big superstars. But luckily we're going home. But I can't tell you. I don't know what Warriors team is going to show up. I don't know. I don't know what this is going to look like. This is, you're going to have probably Steph, Boogie, Dre, obviously in the starting lineup, probably Iguodala, and then I'm not sure who we go with after that. Maybe Livingston. Maybe we go Bogut and go a little bit big. I'm not entirely sure. I have no idea who's starting tomorrow. This has been a crazy, crazy ride. This has been one of the wildest and weirdest postseasons in this run for the Warriors. I can't think of a stranger one. This one's pretty weird. Definitely. The year Steph got hurt. I think that's the year we lost. The year Steph got hurt, and then we came back from 3-1 to beat OKC. I believe that was the same year. I think that was 2016. That was a weird year, too. That was definitely weird. Steph in and out of the lineup, not looking like himself. So this is truly a test of what the Warriors can do. I mean, beyond test. The Raptors, remember we talked about, before Game 1 in that preview, we talked about how the Raptors were 8th in offense and first place in defense. We talked about that. So that 8th offense finally showed up. Siakam did not have the game that he was supposed to have. In fact, let me drop some of these stats right here. Okay, so for the Raptors, let's see here. Siakam, only 12 points today. Siakam comes back down to earth, which I had a feeling. Kawhi goes the opposite way. He has a pretty big monster game. He gets at 34 points. We held him under 25 in Game 1. He gets out to 34. Marc Gasol only had 6 points. Kyle Lowry, 13, fouled out of the game. Danny Green, 8 points. Van Fleet, 17. So we do a pretty good job of maintaining the rest of the team. And so we did what I suspected we were going to do, was we let Kawhi roam a little bit more, and then we started taking away his team from him. They still played Kawhi hard. They played him super hard. That was a very physical game. I said this on Twitter. This game was an all-out war, and that's what it felt like. So we did a good job of really buckling down and not giving Kawhi many weapons as far as his team was concerned. Pascal Siakam comes back down to earth. That 5-minute run, for those of you that didn't watch the Eastern Conference Finals between the Bucks and the Raptors, that 5-minute run where the Raptors couldn't buy a bucket to save their lives, that they went on so many runs like that during that Eastern Conference Finals. This is not a new thing. I was watching some pundits talk about, well, you can't expect the Raptors to shoot that bad again. I watched them shoot that bad for that entire series. They were horrific. Definitely not on the level of the Warriors. Like, really bad. Just could not buy buckets. When that 5-minute stretch was going, I was looking at the screen going, yup, here it is. I was waiting for this offense. I knew this Raptors offense would show up, and it did. On our side, let's talk a little bit about our side. Steph Curry, rough first half, ends up with 23 buckets. Klay, 25. Green with 17. Iguodala with the dagger. Y'all know the dagger. No. Okay, so do you remember this play? I haven't seen too many people talk about this. So Curry gets the ball. He throws it to Livingston. Kawhi jumps on him. I swear to God, I thought Kawhi intercepted. I was like, well, that's a turnover and probably a layup. And now we're in trouble. That flashed in my head within 2 seconds. But then all of a sudden, Livingston throws it to Iguodala, and Iguodala drops that dagger three, and that ended the game. That was it. That was it. Right when that happened, I was like, that's it. That's game. That is game. But I swear, watch the replay again of that. Kawhi Leonard is so close to intercepting that ball. It was insane. That was so crazy. I can't believe Livingston yanks it. And Livingston yanks it out of his way. He just yanks it with a fury, throws it over to Iggy, and Iggy's there, wide open, boom. And then I love Iggy with the point. He just points at Livingston. That was classic Warriors. That was so good. That was my favorite play. But what no one really talks about is how if Steph throws that a little bit poorer. It wasn't the greatest pass to begin with, but he throws it a little bit worse. We're probably talking about maybe Raptors stealing game 2 and now being up 2-0 in the finals. But they didn't. It didn't happen, and the Warriors have now tied this series up. And now tomorrow, Wednesday night, they go back to Oracle to face the Raptors for game 3. And if we were at full strength, it'd be fine. Even without KD, I would say we're probably going to run the tables in Oracle. I believe that. But the Raptors will be facing a depleted Warriors roster. And I, for one, am very nervous. But I look forward to it. So tell me in the comments, I want to know from you guys, what happens in the next 2 games. So you have a day and a half here. Go on to youtube.com/thegoldcast. That's the best place to place your comments because I read those all the time. Go on to youtube.com/thegoldcast and tell me who is going to win games 3 and 4 at Oracle. Do the Warriors take them both to go up 3-1? Do they split the series again, giving home field advantage back to Toronto? Does Toronto take 2 straight games against a depleted Warriors roster? I want to know. Let me know. Go to youtube.com/thegoldcast. If you go into the description on iTunes, you can just literally click right there in the description. It'll take you right over to the YouTube page. That'd be the best place to leave your comments. Like, share, subscribe. I like to go through all those comments. All right. So we will be back after Wednesday. I'm trying to line some interviews up. I've already been reaching out. I've been thinking a lot about the GoldCast and thinking about how we are the voice of the Bay. So I started to reach out to some super fans and some people within organizations to start lining up interviews. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from some of the super fans, the people that are famous for their fandom, because the GoldCast represents just all the psychopaths, all the diehards for Bay Area sports. And so I will be bringing on some super fans. Some you may heard of, some you haven't heard of, and then people that are affiliated with these great organizations. So I cannot wait to have some people on, but we're going to be doing some interviews coming up here, and then they'll be released in time here. But we should be doing a podcast. I'm either going to do one on Wednesday night after the game, or I might do it Thursday because I think I'm going to be linking up and interviewing somebody. So we might talk about Game 3 together, and that will be part of our interview. So I haven't decided. I got to figure it out. Got to send a couple messages and figure out exactly what we're going to do. and when we're going to do it, our conversations. But that will be coming up. You'll be seeing a little bit of an evolution to the GoldCast with bringing on super fans. I really want to hear from the super fans, and I have a kind of a list that I've been compiling via social media, looking around and seeing who I like and who I'd like to talk to and go, hey, let's talk about sports, football, baseball, basketball. Let's talk Warriors, Giants, 49ers. Let's do it all. All right. So we'll be back soon, either late tomorrow or Thursday. So concludes another edition of the GoldCast. We are the voice of the Bay. I'm your host, Rudy Solis III, and we'll see you next time. Same GoldCast time, same GoldCast channel.
This is the GoldCast.